Hello, this is Jeremy Schuback of the Photoshop Expert Series. Welcome to episode 4. We're going to get into more advanced selection in a bit, but I got a couple of questions about edge spill. What do I mean when I say edge spill? Let's say you've made a selection, something that looks like this. You hit delete, and I'm just going to create a new layer, and we have this red edge spill on the side. All right, how do you get rid of this right here? First thing, you could just go into, adjust hue saturation. I don't use menus. I'm going to use Control U for adjust hue and saturation. I'm just going to hit Control U, or I could use a layer adjustment layer, but let's not worry about that for now. And all I need to do is, if I were to bring down the saturation of all of it, that wouldn't be particularly helpful. That would just be bringing the whole image closer to black and white. So I'm going to reset that to 0. However, you can affect individual parts of the color individually. So if I were to just affect the reds, which we're going to do right here, I could do that. Now, the problem with this is it's not only doing it for the center, or it's not only doing it for the edges, which I do want, it's also doing it for the center. So you'll notice that I'm losing a lot of nice saturation happening in these cheeks when I bring it down. So we need to solo out the areas that are just in the middle section. I'm going to press cancel, and I am going to duplicate this layer just in case I mess something up. Turn off this background layer, and I'm going to Control click. Now, I should note right here, you could do this with smart layers, you could do this with all sorts of things, I could show you masks, but I just want to do this in the simplest way as possible and get it out quickly. So in order to quickly select around all this layer, if you hold down Control, so I'm holding down the Control, and then I select on the thumbnail of the layer, it'll then select around the entire layer. So I'm just holding down Control, click on the thumbnail of the layer, it'll select the outline of whatever the layer is. Then I'm going to go into Select, Modify, Contract. So select Modify, Contract, you know what I mean. And I'm just going to bring it in a little bit. And this will make it so I just have the inside selected. I want to have just the outside selected. So Control-Shift-I to invert the selection. And now the only area I have selected is basically the edge. But it's a very solid line. So let me just right-click. I'm going to feather that edge a little bit. Let's do it by 20 pixels. I'm just guessing here. And now, the only area that's going to be affected is the area inside of the active region. So if I go into hue saturation, Control U for hue saturation, go to just affecting my reds, it'll only affect the reds inside of the active region. And I'm going to bring those down. And you'll notice that I'm maintaining the vibrancy inside of the center, because that's not inside of the active region. Just preview, unpreview, while getting rid of the red saturation on the edge. So let me deselect this, Control D, and just as a before and after, we're able to get rid of all of that. And if we really wanted to now, if we really wanted to build this into the outside even more, I could Control-click the outside of this. I could then, say, feather the edge, let's say again by 20 pixels. I'm going to select the color that's in the background, just whatever the color in the background is. If it's not a solid color, then okay, you need a little bit more advanced technique. And then I'm going to hide the selection by pressing Control-H. That hides the selection. It's still there, I'm just hiding it. And then I'm going to drag across on this new layer and just kind of add a little edge in. Just kind of a tiny little bit of an edge, just to make it so it really fades into the background. Now, this technique I'm doing right here in order to get it to fade into the background, obviously I could talk a lot more about this. Mostly I wanted to show you how to get rid of the red more so than add another color. I just wanted to show you that you could go in and do it this way. I'm going a little bit too far with this, so I'm just going to use the eraser and setting it on a 50% opacity. I'm just going to erase out just a little bit, and then I'll probably bring down the opacity of the entire layer. Really all I'm looking for is a very subtle blue edge, but that's enough kind of to make it so it looks like this is sitting on it. People don't realize it, but when you have an object inside of a setting, the colors of the area around it like spill into it on the edges. That's why we needed to take away the red, and that's why I also need to add in the blue a little bit. Was this the best way to add in the blue? Probably not, but I thought I'd add it to the tutorial just to, you know, give it a full rounding right here. However, that was a rather good way to add in the red. And as we get further into the Photoshop Expert series, remember that I still have this selection. I just hit Control H to get rid of it. As we get further into the Photoshop Expert series, I will continue doing a more and more advanced technique. So right now, you know, it's not completely sitting on the edge. Maybe I'd bring down the opacity of this by a little bit, just so it's really working on a very subconscious level. There we go, but just the difference between it not being there and it being there, already you can start to see that it's working. And that's just very, very simple. We have a layer alone, just looks like, just looks like this. Can you even see that? Let's make it so you can see that. Control New, there we go. It just looks like this. It's just blue. Like that right there. I'm going to turn this off, I'm going to turn this on, I'm going to turn this on. And that just kind of makes it so you can get an image that you can composite into another image in there in a little bit. Alright, so that's how to get rid of a nasty color spill inside of Photoshop. Again, just Control click to get the outline. Contract in the selection using Contract. Feather it by right-clicking and pressing Feather, and then going into HueSaturation. Excuse me. Going into HueSaturation, selecting whatever color you want to get rid of, and just bringing down the saturation. This has been Jeremy Schumack with the Photoshop Expert series. In the next session, we'll be getting to that fish selection thing I was talking about in the last tutorial, and just doing another example with Quick Select to make you really, really good at getting perfect selections.